Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay.
All right, so we're out here at beautiful Orfila Winery, which is is this Escondido or is this San Diego County?
It's actually the city of San Diego, but it's in the San Pasqual Valley.
Okay, and we're here with Justin. You're the winemaker. Yeah, you don't look like you look more like a beer drinker than a winemaker.
Beer drinking surfer.
Takes a lot of beer to make good wine.
Yes, it does. I like that.
So tell us, how did you get started? I mean, how did you, first of all, you're obviously very young. How did you get started in the winemaking business? Because for young people to drink wine is becoming more and more common, whereas in the past it wasn't like that, right?
Well, I don't know how far in the past do you want to go. I mean,
I don't know. You started drinking?
Actually, I grew up in Healdsburg in Sonoma County, so I've been surrounded by the wine industry my whole life. And actually, my parents were in construction, and but we had friends that owned wineries, and so we've always been kind of associated with wineries. And gosh, I did construction after high school for a little bit, and then went back to school at Santa Rosa Junior College.
Was it just a blur of a memory?
It is. I'm going back a long ways right now. But at Santa Rosa Junior College, and I did the viticulture program there. And late 90s, I worked for Fry Chrono as kind of a vit tech / cellarman, and I loved it. And then in 2000, moved down to the Central Coast. I went to Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and got offered a winemaking job, an assistant winemaking job at Letitia in 2000. I guess it was early 2002, and the rest is history.
People have so much fun at your winery. They're like hooting and hollering in the background. Like, I kind of feel like I'm missing out talking to you instead of hanging out with them. So this better be an excellent interview.
I can dance, or we can sing, like I was talking about.
No, I'm just kidding you. So you were up in the Central Coast, going through college. Obviously, got a couple of gigs up there, and now you're in San Diego County, which is not the mecca of winemaking. So how'd you end up down here?
My dad just died in August, but I came down here because he was down here, and I wanted do something different, a different challenge, and I feel that there's a lot of potential in the wine industry down here that hasn't been harnessed yet, and so it's a challenge for me. It's a new thing. It's a new path, and I think we can do some really cool things down here.
So Linda hooked us up with you.
Yeah, we've been hooked up.
Yeah, we've been hooked up. And she was telling us some interesting things about the wine property here, that it's actually owned by the county of San Diego, and you guys have a forever lease on it, pretty much.
Yeah, we have a couple more extensions on our lease. I think the next one ends in 2026 or something like that. So yeah, we're here pretty much permanently, and it's a good gig. It's an agricultural preserve, so they'll never plant houses per se here, and so it's a neat property. It actually lends itself to different varietals than I've worked with in the past. Some different varietals than I've worked with in the past, but it's a great site for Sangiovese that we're tasting now, and Cabernet that's right here in front of us, and we have some Merlot on the other side, and just different stylistically, than up north and Central Coast, and even where I'm from in Sonoma County. But it's a really neat property, and it's got a lot of potential, and I don't think it's really been harnessed by any of the other wineries down here. I mean, Temecula really, hasn't.
Be careful now. We're from Temecula.
I know. Well, I'm being honest though. Temecula really hasn't put themselves on the even the statewide or the international map yet. The wines are really aren't that impressive.
Spectacular.
There's
a few spectacular ones, but they're
We
few and far between.
got one of that Golden Bear double gold medal thing, or whatever that was.
Yeah,
South Coast Winery got it a few years back for their Rosé Grenache.
But that's a growing, and we get it, it's growing.
Yeah, it's growing.
They're newbies. In the wine world.
Well, exactly.
They're new.
They've created a nice destination for people to go to, though. And if the wine's crappy, who cares, right?
Well, here I liken it to the Central Coast. The Central Coast wines in the 80s were horrible. The Sonoma County wines in the 70s were, less than par. Napa in the 60s was, not that great either. So it's, we're a little bit low on the learning curve right now, but we're getting it, and people are figuring out what to grow, and they're figuring out the winemaking style that they need to be successful, and so we're getting there. It's kind of a slow process, but you know, it really just takes time. I mean, you know, look at Europe, you know, and all the different varietals and you know and things that they have, and I mean they've been doing it over thousands of years, and it's so we're really young.
Now, have you been to Italy, and have you seen other wineries in other countries yet?
South America, but no, I haven't been to Europe.
Yeah,
So.
I haven't been either. I bet it's spectacular to go to Italy and to the UK and France.
And drink their fabulous wines.
Yeah.
But speaking of fabulous
Yes,
wines,
this
we
is
want
good.
to talk about what's in front of us.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about this.
This is Sangiovese. I think this is one of the best varietals that we have in the property. It's right actually on that hillside right across from us right there, and it's a nice wine. It's really kind of fruit driven, like all our wines are, and really sandy soils, and so they're pretty intense and very very concentrated and kind of more in that red fruit style. But Sangiovese is probably one of my favorite varieties here, and it's going to continue to be probably one of my favorites here. In fact, I'm going to replace some of the Syrah that's planted behind us over there, you know, with more Sangiovese in the future, and I think it's really going to be kind of the staple of this winery in the future.
Now let's talk about that a little bit, because this winery has had some winemaker challenges over the last 3 or 4 years, and there's been a few changes. Obviously, one person passed away, and then there's been, you know, a couple tries, and here you are. How are you making this your own, and what are you doing here to?
Well, if you had the chance to go through some of the newer wines, you know, that I've made in 2010, you'll see stylistically my wines are a little bit bigger and more concentrated than the previous wines, and I think that's really what's going to set me apart from the past winemakers. But you know, Leon Santoro, who came here in the late '80s and was with Thomas Jaeger Winery, and then when Mr. Orfila bought it in '93, continued on with him, and he's a great winemaker, and he really was kind of all about himself, you know, and promoting Orfila and himself. But you know, he really did do a good job, and the wines speak for themselves. So, in fact, this is one of Leon's wines, even though Don Reyes' name's on it. He bottled it, but this was from his vintage.
So you still have vintages coming from 2 and 3 years ago that you guys are still putting out right now?
Yeah, and that was one of the things when I came down here. I'm just trying to get them back on track. You know, they had a lot of old vintages in barrel that needed to be bottled, and so I did a lot of that, and trying to get more on a regular program, like an 18-month program, I think is going to be appropriate for here. So.
How many cases are you guys doing a year?
Between
to do?
right now we're probably in the neighborhood of 12 to 18,000 cases.
Wow. And so you have a wine club.
We have a wine club. We're very successful.
How does that work?
It does great.
Do you sign up for it? Do you send quarterly shipments?
We'll probably have to talk to the tasting room about that.
Is that?
Yeah, you sign up for it. You get 3 bottles quarterly, and we choose the bottles, and we either ship them out or you can pick them up. It's a good way to, especially if you're not in the area, to keep in touch with what we're doing. And but it's really cool to be part of the club, because you get a discount on the wines. You know, you get to be involved with a lot of the parties and things that we do, and obviously you get a discount on a lot of the merchandise and everything. So.
But let's talk briefly before we wrap it up, because we're going to go in and do a wine tasting dinner with you guys in just a few minutes. But where you're located, you're off of 15, only about 5 or 6 minutes off Highway I-15, and just north of San Diego. What, 25 minutes? How far is it to San Diego from here?
Not very far. We're in between. It's a really good location. 25 miles north of San Diego and probably 25 miles south of Temecula.
So right here in the central area, easy to get to for people that want to come out and actually do a tasting out here and hang out. And there's people all over picnicking, laying in the grass, and enjoying the picnic tables and the view. So nice area.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Enjoyable.
Beautiful. It's a great place to work. Great people. I just, you know, and I can't wait to you know, make the wines better and see this place grow, because I think the potential is really there, and as you guys will see in the future, you know, we're gonna have some really nice wines coming out here. So.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks, Justin, and cheers to that, and we'll see you at dinner.
Cheers.
Cheers.